Mavorach over here. As we are coming into the Hebrew month of Tevet over here, and we're already over here in the city of Ramat Gan, just with the Hanukkah and the candles over here, as we get to light up. It's a very unique Shabbat it's going to be as we're coming in, because this Shabbat, friends, has got also Rosh Chodesh, it's Hanukkah, and it's Shabbat. So if you're a guest, technically, you're going to be in someone's house. It's going to be literally the longest Birkat Hamazon. But Baruch Hashem, the more blessings, the better, as they state. So we are coming into the Hebrew month of Tevet, and obviously Tevet is in the winter. Now, we know that Hanukkah actually is the only festival that will span 2 months. We know that it's going to span in Tevet, and also Kislev, that's a previous month in of itself. Much can be said, always, obviously, naturally, it's in the winter, and it happens to be Tevet, the 10th month of the Jewish calendar. And in fact, the entire winter season, let's just state in of itself, is sometimes called Tukufat, season of Tevet, obviously in Jewish tradition. We know, obviously, another interesting fact within about it, there's Haftet Yamim, there's 29 days of the of the Hebrew month of Kis in this month. Let's say Tevet always has 29 days. Why is this, friends, over here? We know that the 2 months that are preceding, which is Cheshvan and Kislev, can each have either 29 or 30 days respectively, depending obviously on the year. But from Tevet and onwards, things are more easier. Let's say Tevet has 29, Shvat is going to have 30, and establishes, let's say, at this stage in time, a pattern of alternating months that continues for the rest of the year. Now, obviously, Hanukkah, obviously, as we stated before, on the onset actually comes and is very much part of the Hebrew month of Kislev, and extends to. We are in Shabbat, Parshat Miketz this week. Usually Miketz does fall over there. Other interesting facts about this month is that Malka Esther, Queen Esther, as we learn about inside the Purim story, the book of Esther, we read that Esther was taken to King Achashverosh's palace in the 10th month, which is obviously the month of Tevet, and the Gemara actually explains over here that the month of Tevet was a particularly opportune time, since the cold causes a body to take pleasure from the body of another. That's an interesting Talmud tip over here, which actually we see on the Chabad website. They keep excellent articles out there, which I very much recommend everyone to do. Other occurrences actually took place on this month. We obviously know very well the siege of Jerusalem began even before it got the name Tevet, when it was known simply as the 10th month. This was obviously a significant time in Jewish history. It was in the 10th month, on the 10th of the month, when Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylonia, Babylonia, came, he and his entire army, against Jerusalem and encamped against it, and they built siege works. They built siege works around it over there. Another interesting thing about this month, the 10th day of the month, obviously we know, is Asar B'Tevet, which is a fast day. If you recollect, we've spoken about this on previous videos before. The book of Zechariah tells us that 4 fast days will become days of joy and gladness and good festivals in the period of Moshiach, including the fast of Tevet. Now, a reference to the 10th day of Tevet, or the 10th month. On this day, the Jewish people obviously mourn the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash temple. Obviously, there was the result, obviously, of the siege, which began on that day from daybreak, it was, to nightfall, where obviously we're not allowed to have drink, we're not allowed to have food on this specific day itself, and extra prayers are recited. I believe actually it happens to be the shortest of the fasts, respectively, over there. Now, 2 other tragic events also occurred on this specific period. Now, tradition will actually tell us, friends, that the fast of 10th of Tevet commemorates 2 other major bad events. On the 8th of Tevet, at the behest of Ptolemy of Egypt, the Torah was translated into Greek, the Greek language, making sharp decline, this would, of Jewish spirituality. The Torah now, let's say, perceived as just another book of wisdom in Ptolemy's great library. So that's something obviously we don't necessarily celebrate. Also, it's interesting, Ezra HaSofer, his Hilula, his yard site actually falls on this month of Tevet, which is very interesting. He was a spiritual leader of the Jewish community who returned to the land of Israel from Babylonia and rebuilt the Beit HaMikdash in Jerusalem. The death of this great leader, who left, let's say, a huge mark on Jewish life and observance, was deeply mourned. Yet a single fast was declared for all 3 of these, let's say, badnesses that actually came. Obviously, very sad that Ezra HaSofer passed away, so that the month would not be full of sadness and mourning to do each fast separately. another interesting fact about this month is that agents were not dispatched from Jerusalem. Now, in the time of the Bet HaMikdash, at the start of every Jewish month that contained a holiday, agents, shlichim, were dispatched from Jerusalem to notify the Jewish people in every community of when the month had to begin, so that they would now know when to observe the holiday. But no rumours were sent out at the start of the month of Tevet, since a fast would one day be abolished. It was not considered binding at the time and did not warrant special notification. Now, it's actually interesting. The name Tevet also was adopted by the Jewish people during the Babylonian exile, and is believed, let's say, to connote sinking or immersing. This is possibly related to the fact that the heavy winter rainfall, obviously which we're praying for rain every single day, turns at this stage inside much of the Middle East into a muddy swamp at this time of year. The muzzle of Tevet happens to be actually a goat, which is spoken about before. Every Jewish month is associated with a zodiac symbol, which is dominant of that time, and the symbol of Tevet is a gedi, a goat. And I think in the Chabad community itself, we have to add on, Hey Tevet, the 5th of Tevet, is marked with celebrations in the Chabad movement, as it's a date when I think US federal judge ruled that the extensive library that was led by the 6th Lubavitcher Rebbe, someone named Rabbi Yosef Yitzhak Schneerson of righteous memory, belonged to the community, recognizing, let's say, the nature of the rabbi, let's say, as a communal figure. So very, very interesting. Much can be pointed out within regards to this. Here, we're about to go inside Shabbat Parashat Hanukkah Miketz over here, just in Ramat Gan over here, just actually in a hotel. The weather is quite nice. It's not raining. We obviously want there to be rain and abundance with blessings, but just relaxing over here. Nothing like being in Eretz Yisrael. Wishing you all a fantastic Hanukkah, friends. A Shabbat Shalom V'rach, and take care. And thanks for all the fantastic feedback. Take care, friends.